my channel. In today's episode of Mental Health Mondays, we have another male on the channel talking about life as a male living with mental health conditions. Bill also talks about his journey through recovery and how his mental health has improved since getting sober. So get a cup of tea and let's get straight into it. Hello, welcome to the channel. I've got my lovely friend Bill with me here today. So I will let you introduce yourself, Bill. Tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are.
Hello, everyone. My name's Bill. I'm 27 years old. I'm an engineer by trade. Live life on the edge, and that's about it so far.
Amazing. So Bill's come on today to talk to us about living with mental health from a male perspective. It's been a little while since we've had a gentleman on the channel, so thank you very much for volunteering. So let's just get straight into it. What condition do you kind of put yourself in? Have you been diagnosed, or is it self-diagnosis?
Well, about 5-6 years ago now, I was diagnosed with anxiety, depression, and mixed emotion disorder, which basically just means I'll have mood swings. But I am self-diagnosed substance addict
Right,
and
okay.
and things like that. So yeah, I've, it was about I was about 22, so it's about 5-6 years ago now, and
Yeah.
it's had a bit of a wobble with my
Yeah.
own and I spent a good couple of weeks, no, not a couple of weeks, probably about a week on a psychiatric ward.
Wow,
And
okay.
when I come out of there, it took a while, but I was diagnosed with, like I said, the anxiety, depression, mixed emotion.
Yeah. So you said that was when you was 22. How old was you when you first started to notice that you didn't feel 100%? Was it 22, or had it happened earlier than that?
Long before that, I was probably early teens, say about 14. But you know what I mean? When something just didn't sit right,
Yeah.
like I'd either be in myself or I'd be over cocky. I feel like the world was all against me, and I just felt like no matter how many mates I had, I've always felt on my own. If that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah, I get that. Do you feel like you was always in fight or flight mode?
I think I was something in the middle, to be honest. I was scared. I was either too scared to do something, or I was too scared not to do something. Like for example, people go, "Oh, Bill, do this." I go, "Yeah, no problem." Just to get involved and try and prove myself to people.
Do you think you was a people pleaser?
Oh, 1,000,000% hell, million.
Yeah. Takes one to know
It
one, boy.
makes me more part of the crew. I'd be
Yeah.
involved in it if I
Yeah.
knew I did it. For example, I picked up smoking at a young age just to be part of the cool kids, as they say.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that completely. And then you can't stop because
Oh
obviously,
no,
yeah.
shit,
I
I'm all
can.
them time.
So, are there certain situations that you struggle with, that you've always struggled with, or have you found throughout life different things you've struggled with your kind of mental health?
Well, it's mainly like I think if a situation was a bit chaotic, my head wouldn't be able to focus in it.
Mhm.
For example, if there's a million and one people in a conversation, I'd get a bit flustered because I'm a bit like, right, I want to be heard because of
Yeah,
that people. Also, I'm trying to talk to him. I'm trying to talk to her. I'm trying to talk to someone about something yesterday, and he used to proper fry me. And I mean, after a while, I've kind of got used to it now because, like, as you grow up, you don't get in too many situations with too many people. But yeah, I do struggle sometimes. I think it's more of an ego thing
mm,
because I want to be heard. I want to be center of attention, and it
yeah,
is sometimes to rein that in.
yeah, yeah. I get that. So you mentioned substance abuse. Are you happy to talk about that today?
Yeah, no, I'm more than happy to talk about it.
So I obviously know you through recovery. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about how substance abuse kind of affected your mental well-being.
Oh well, it weren't no good for it. 100%. It kind of made things 10 times worse because
Mhm.
I've learned that through taking substances, it don't deal with a problem. It just puts it on the back burner for 5 minutes, but then it comes back 10 times worse because my head's in such a worse state. But lucky enough, um, I haven't got to do that nowadays. Do you know
Oh,
what I mean? And my mental health is 1,000,000% better since I stopped.
yeah. So I completely get that. I mean, before I got sober, my mental health was the worst it's ever been. And don't get me wrong, I still have days where I do feel like absolute shit.
Oh
But
yeah,
I'm not. I'm not making it worse. Like you said, like you have the power to like deal with it as on its terms. You know what I mean? You're not putting a pause on it. You're not delaying the problem. You're actually going, this is how I feel today. That's okay.
Yeah, and you can accept situations for what they are. And if something bad comes up, it's not the end of the world. Because
No.
I know with stopping substances and learning about myself through recovery, as you know, I learned to, for example, pausing when agitated. It
Yeah.
when I'm in a conversation with millions of people, I can take myself out of that and go, "Wow, I don't actually need to be here."
Yeah.
It's just it's just my head going, "Oh, you need to get involved, Bill," when really I don't.
Yeah.
And
It's crazy how when you're out in the madness, you have such bad FOMO, don't you?
oh
It's
yeah,
like you're not missing out on anything.
I mean, I'm telling you, I'd rather lay in bed watching Netflix with my boys all day long
Yeah.
than go with my so-called friends and spending money I don't have, and that's a complete other story. Do you know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
even worth it
It's
nowadays.
chaos, absolute chaos. So take us back to what kind of a bad day would look like for you, either in recovery or before recovery when it was really, really bad. Like, how would that consume you as a person?
Well, I'll try and do two. So in recovery, a bad day for me looks like me not wanting to do anything. Like I'd wake up and I'd be thinking, "Oh, have I got to do this again? Like it's another day." But then as time's gone on, I've learned that I can wake up in a bad mood, but I haven't got to stay in a bad mood. Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? I can take my boys out. I can go meet my friends. I can spend time with my family. I can go do all these things that help me get out of myself
Mm.
and not have to sit in that self pity and oh woe is me because I've got a flat tire or something. Like, do you know, what I mean? Just for example, like it's not a bad day. It's not a bad day anymore for me because I am.
Just to get
Don't get me
out
wrong.
of it.
Exactly. I still get a little bit down and things and thinking, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. Have I really got to do it? And my head just goes, yeah, of course you have, Bill, because you want to do these things. Because
Yeah.
that's 22 of my head. My head tells me two different things at the best of times.
Yeah.
But back before when I was still in active addiction, bad days were horrible, like absolutely painful. I'll be waking up crying. I'll be having rows with people. Um, at one point, I was a prolific self harmer, so I'll be doing a lot of damage to myself, and it don't only affect me, it affects people around me. For example, my mum and dad have seen things they shouldn't have. My boys have been scared of me. Friends don't want to talk to me. So like when it was bad, it was really bad. But now I've learned how to deal with things, and I think that's the key
Yeah.
to like not stay in yourself and think about everything. Just get up and move on with things.
Yeah. It's Do you find that them bad days keep you sober though, knowing how bad it was?
Oh yeah, I have, but it's hard, as you know. We've got an head that forgets, and when I sit there and think, oh, like, I could go out and have a drink with all my old mates that don't talk to me anymore because
Mm.
I'm missing that and I want to be part of it.
Mm.
I remember back to how it was, and it's like, right, I've like as I said about the self harm, I've got scars and things I can physically see. I've got conversations I have with my parents. Um, yeah, loads of little things that make me go, do you know what? It ain't that bad as it used to be.
No. I think
Without
that's the best and worst thing about being sober is when you get your memories back and you clear your conscience, you almost learn to be kind to yourself, don't you? Like you're so when you're out in the madness, you're pleasing everyone else but forgetting about self. And like when you get sober, you suddenly realise that the damage. I mean, I went for a stage of self-harming as well, but even my behaviour was self-harming. Do you know what I mean? The way I spoke to myself, the way I did things for other people when I was pouring from an empty pot. Like that is a form of self-harm, you know. It's not just about physically impacting your body, it's about impacting your mind as well.
yeah,
Like
sabotage, you just go into destruction mode and oh,
yeah.
everyone can. I don't want to know my partner, my kids, my family. I don't want to know none of that because my head just wants me on my own to brew on the depression and all the anxiety and all the fears and all of that palaver that keeps us down at the end of the day.
It's literally like the devil on your shoulder, isn't it? And that little
Right.
voice that of hope, I think when you get into recovery and you get mentally well, that tiny little person becomes bigger than than the monster on your shoulder, and you can
But
move forward.
it's like the devil speaker goes down and the angel goes up. That's how I look at it because
Yeah,
sometimes
massively.
a lot more clearer, and like,
Yeah.
yeah, my conscience going, "Oh, Bildy, I don't think this is right." And I go, "Do you know what? You've got a point." Instead of back in the day, I go, "Nah, you're all right, mate.
Let's have a laugh, see what happens. Yeah.
Yeah, have a go." But I
Yeah.
think is where I think it's a lot better nowadays. But for men, we're shown that we can't have these emotions, and if we have, we've just got to get on with it. And I
And
think
that's
that,
so hard for you being like clinically diagnosed with something and society telling you that it's almost not real. Do you know what I mean? Because there is a lot of men still that say like, oh, mental health is a state of mind. It's not like a real thing. And you've been clinically diagnosed that you have these conditions, and you've got to put your big boy boots on and just carry on. Like,
it is a bit of a, it's a hard stigma to swallow, I think. But I think if more people open up and spoke about it, it wouldn't be as a bad thing. For example, I've got a group of friends that tell me every emotion they go through, sometimes good, sometimes bad, and we're stronger as a unit for it.
yeah.
Do you know? Like, it's easily accepted, it's easily spoke about, it's easily dealt with in my eyes. So you ain't got to suffer in silence anymore as a man, I think.
Was that something you struggled with when you first started to like work on wellness and stuff like that, accepting that you had a mental health condition? Because obviously, like you say before, you was quite a laddish lad, weren't you? You was out
Yeah,
about, you was the typical like alpha male. So to suddenly now accept that you're not alpha, do you know what I mean? But we know that alpha isn't even a real thing. It's
yeah,
the
no,
but what
it's an
was that like? Like starting that process? Was you in denial at all?
I think it was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot to take in, 100%, because it comes down to making yourself vulnerable. I think as human beings, we like to make sure we're safe and we're secure, but to get vulnerable and to talk about how I feel, it was a big shock. For my first 2 days, 2 days, 2 months in recovery, I was actually in a rehab centre,
Yeah.
and they asked you where they'd get you talking about your feelings, and my head was blown about it,
Yeah.
because I had people that were alpha males letting their heart out, and I'm thinking, what's he doing? Like, it didn't make, it was
Yeah.
confusing to me. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah, I can imagine.
I'm not used to that. I wasn't used, like, I don't go down to friends with my pub and go, "So how's your day been?"
No.
Do you know? That it was just really, it was really weird for me, I must admit. But after a while, it just got easier.
Yeah. Well, it's retraining your brain, isn't it?
Oh, 100%, yeah.
So on the flip side, what does a good day look like for you? Now that you've got these tools and you can be mentally well and know what you should and shouldn't be doing to benefit yourself, what does a good day look like for you?
Uh, Good days to me is, it's silly little things. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wake up and I can hear my baby going, "Dada," like in his cot. I can drive down the road with my friends singing at my heart out and not worrying about who's listening. I'm just happy. I've got peace of mind. That's a good day for me. Like, it's not going out on holidays and all these big extravagant things. It's about inner peace for me.
Yeah.
Like, I can go talk to my mum and she's not got worried about if I've been using or if I've self harmed. I can go out with friends and I can go have something to eat and we can just laugh till our bellies hurting. That is a good day for me nowadays. The little things that I've never really appreciated before.
Yeah. Well, it's being comfortable with yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Actually looking in the mirror and going, I'm all right. I'm not that bad person that my brain told me I was for all them years. I add something to the people around me and I look after them as well, but still look after myself.
And what I kind of realised, going back to what I said earlier about having a million and one conversations and wanting to be part of it, I've
Mm.
noticed nowadays people actually listen to me if I'm not trying to shove myself in. So it's like I'm more accepted around people. But like I said, I think it's because we talk about our feelings, we go do different things, and all this, I actually feel part of something now. Whereas before I was trying to get part of something, and now I'm actually part of something. It's just so easy.
Yeah. It's because you've accepted who you are and kind of where you feel comfortable in the world. Like I would always feel comfortable coming to you and talking about a problem. I would never feel that you would judge me or anything like that. And I think a lot of people in our friendship circle would feel the same because you are such an honest person. You don't pretend to be something you're not. And if you're not all right, you will happily say, today's a bit of a shit day. You know, and I think, like you say, by opening that conversation, you allow people to respond because someone says to me, "Oh, yeah, I'm feeling really, really good today." I don't want to be the person that says, "Well, I feel like absolute horseshit today." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You just pretend. Whereas if you're honest and say, "Oh, I had a really bad day yesterday, but I feel better today," that opens that dialogue for people to say, "Do you know what? I'm having a really bad day today. Hopefully, I'll feel better tomorrow, like you do." You know?
you, you open them channels with people like as you said, if I've had a bad day yesterday and you're having a bad one today, but seeing someone go through a bad day and then have a good day makes you think, wait, I can do that. Do you know what I mean? It's not the end of the world. It's not doom and gloom. It's not, oh no, everyone run for the hills.
Yeah,
It can, you know what I mean? And I think that's what it is because as my depression, anxiety would make me think, right, something bad's happened,
yeah,
and everyone's going to die. The world's going to crumble round you. I'm thinking, but now I'm like, no, it won't. Do you know what I
no,
mean? I've had days and I've got through them. I don't see them as bad days anymore. I see them as grow days. Like
yeah,
we grow as people. We grow as, yeah, as a person. We grow in ourselves. And like the only bad days for me is when we take our last day. But it's about growing nowadays. I try not to see them as bad days.
yeah. I like that. Growing days. I might start using that when I'm in a pit of self pity.
Yeah.
So, are there situations now that you still struggle with? Like you mentioned about groups of people, you feel like you've kind of overcome that slightly. Are there situations where you do really struggle when you might have to remove yourself?
Um. Yeah, they're very far and few between nowadays. But for example, it's very hard to keep your cool around your loved ones.
Mm.
100%. Like if I'm having, let's say, a heated discussion with my dad or saying, I'll have to take myself away because I know my head would naturally just go rah, and it's not going to end up well. And when I'm at work, like my line of work, I have to deal with some proper snotty people. And when they're looking down at your nose, my ego goes, "Don't do that. What are you doing to me?" And I have to go, "Yes, sir. No, sir. 2 pints full, sir." And it's like it's just about learning to know when you're not needed in the situation.
Yeah, yeah, I get that.
If it's gonna get 10 times worse by anything you say, take a back step off of it. That's how I look at things nowadays. But I do still struggle because I am human. For
Yeah,
example, at work and I feel like someone's looking down at me, I will feel compelled to tell them about themselves. And 9 out of 10 times that my issue shows me that that don't work.
yeah,
But I think people need to be a little bit less hard on themselves and accept that we are only human. These things are going to happen. It's not the end of the world.
Do you think within the male culture it's a lot harder to do that? Because I know a lot of males in my life that are very strict with themselves, you know, their behavior, what they achieve, their milestones. Do you feel like it's harder for a guy to be kinder to themselves?
Um, well, 50-50 on that one, really, because, like I said today, it's a lot more acceptable to have a mental health and
Yeah.
accept. For example, in my work, I get audited and they say, "Oh, do you know where to find a mental health hotline?" And I'm thinking, like, when I first started work at 16, I wasn't really getting none of that. But now times have changed. But it definitely is the stigma of having to be the alpha male, having to protect everyone that does make it harder.
Yeah.
Because, for example, if one of my boys are being naughty, I have to be the one that tells him off.
Yeah.
Well, that was nowadays. I'm a bit like, no, that's for you to deal with. But it is the stigma around. I have to be hard. I'm not allowed to cry. And if I have a problem, I'll deal with it with my fist and things like that. That when I grew up, I thought were the thing. And like for example, when I said I was getting vulnerable in rehab, and I weren't screaming and shouting at people, it was a bit like, whoa, like this ain't what I've been shown.
Yeah, it's like shedding skin.
It is, yeah. It's like taking a layer back and realizing I haven't got to shout at people. I haven't got to be violent to get an answer.
No.
You can your mouth. And that was weird. When I started talking to someone who's shouting at me, I'm like, even today, mate goes, "What are we doing, Bill? This ain't what we've been shown growing up."
Yeah.
And it is a lot harder for a man to admit that he don't want to. He don't want to be that violent, shouting, having to crow everything person. I
Yeah.
believe that's from my own experience. I believe it is hard.
It is completely because like you say, it's comes back to that ego, doesn't it? When you've got that
Yeah.
violent head on, people you'd rather people be scared of you than feel sorry for you. And
Oh,
that's the
yeah.
hardest thing. Like, but the reality is everyone else is worrying about themselves way more than they're worrying about what you're up to. Like, we worry so much about other people's opinions, but don't validate our own. Like,
And I think what I definitely struggle with this, but I, I found that I'm not the center of the universe, believe it or not. And
really?
I
I
don't,
found that out too, and I was shocked.
yeah, I was shocked, but people have got their own stuff to deal with.
Yeah, it's
Like,
crazy.
if I'm having a bad day, that person's not going to go home and go, "Oh, you never guess what happened to Bill today," and then toss and turn in bed about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I used to think because I was having a bad day. Everyone has to do everything I want.
Yeah,
But there could be people out there having a worse day than me, and I don't see that because at the time it's all about Bill.
yeah.
Seeing that you're not the center of the universe, which is a big kick up the arse, I must admit. But do you know what I mean? You're not everyone's world. People got their own things to deal with.
What do you wish you could tell your younger self?
Oh, there's a lot. Don't skip oceans with people who won't cross a puddle.
Yeah.
Don't give the world to everybody as soon as you meet them. Don't. A lot of don'ts. There's not that many do's, but don't. Yeah, don't worry what people think, because that for my life that was a big worry. Don't worry about what he said, what she said, what they're doing. Just stay true to yourself. As like pretty basic as that sound, that is really what I wish I said. Because, for example, growing up, my mum would go, "Oh, like, don't do that, don't do that." And I go, "Yeah, all right, mum, all the boys are doing it." And it turned out to be right. So respect yourself a bit more. Don't worry about other people, it's saying. And as I said, you're not the centre of the universe. You get that in young.
Yeah. Is that something you'll be teaching your boys?
Oh, 100%. I think I think it's now I've got a cleaner headset, I will be able to raise them in a different light. Before I was a bit like, no, they've got to. If someone hits them, they've got to hit it back. They've got to do this. They've got like typical stuff I got shown. But
Yeah.
nowadays, like, no, let them pull back and think that person might be having a bad day.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I'm human at the end of the day, but I've got different ways to teach them now, and hopefully I'll break that cycle with them.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. You're educating future adults. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Children are only children for 18 years and then they're out in the big wide world. They've got 18 years to learn the right path.
no, they're always going to be my babies. They're 100%, no matter.
Okay, so on the flip side of that, what do you hope for your older self?
Peace. That's all I want. Do you know what I mean? I don't want billions and a big yacht and champagne everywhere. I just want to be able to wake up in the morning and not have to worry.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, being able to go to bed and be able to put my head down without my head doing a million miles an hour, going, "Oh, why did I say that? What's going to happen? I've got to do this," and just be able to be happy with myself.
Yeah, I get that. I get that completely. So I really appreciate you giving up your time today. We've obviously spoken about some pretty dark things, but just to kind of finish, what helps you now to remain kind of clear headed and kind of get through the day? What are the kind of tools that you wish you could pass on to people?
I I say about 80% of what helps me is the people around me. I've got I'm getting tingles thinking about it, but I've got such a close circle of friends at the minute that I can lean on when I'm struggling.
Yeah.
I can talk to them about anything. They can talk to me about anything. For example, like there was about a month ago, I had some bad news, and I just kind of went into self. I didn't talk to anybody. I come home from work on a Friday. I just put myself in my bedroom as I usually would. Went to sleep, woke up, and I come downstairs. My best mate's down there, with having a cup of tea with my mum, going like, "Where you been, Bill? We've been worried about you." And if that ain't friendship, I don't know what that is. That's the people that keep Bill as Bill.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Um, yeah, so like that, like having a good little firm around you, and like not just best mates, but people you can tell everything to, and be able to talk about anything. Um, yeah, self love is another one. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? When I first come into recovery, I was doing recovery. I was going to work. I was having my kids. I was sleeping. I wasn't having no time for myself.
Yeah.
And I get a little bit burnt out from that. But as of late, I've just someone's like, "Oh, Bill, do you want to do this?" I'd be like, "No, do you know what? I wanna lay in bed and watch Netflix all day today. I'm doing that. I can do that nowadays."
Yeah.
Before it was like people were like, "Oh, Bill, do you want to come out? Yeah, no problem. Where we going?"
Yeah.
Now, now I can take time and go, "No, I'm getting a little bit tired and a little bit agitated. Let me just have a day chilling."
Yeah.
So self, good firm, and yeah, like learning about yourself. That's a big one for me. Like I've done it through recovery, but each day is a learning day. I'm learning who Bill is, and
Yeah.
I have to time to make up for them years of battering myself. Really,
Suppose just making up for all the pretending, pretending you was this person, and actually you when you strip them layers back, that person was all just a front.
yeah. Like now I'm starting to learn myself. I'm gonna be like, who's he? Like, what's my favorite color? What's my favorite food? I'm learning it all again. It's
Yeah.
like being it's like being born as a fully grown adult. Like I'm having to learn. Like, I like to walk and talk clearly, but I'm having to learn these things about myself and about how the world works.
Yeah.
And it's eye opener. Like sometimes I wake up and it could be absolutely bucketed down. I go, God, that's beautiful. Look at that. Do you know what I mean? Just them little moments and that keep me peaceful. I enjoy it so much nowadays.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate you giving up your time. It's been really insightful learning about kind of how bad it can get, but also what a beautiful life you now live. You absolutely show so much gratitude and so much patience. You've just got that air of calm about you that I think when we're suffering, there is no calm. It is pure chaos, whether that's you're out in active addiction, whether you're having a depressive episode. It's so nice to see you, like you said, at peace, and I think for anyone watching this that does struggle either with addiction or with their mental health, which the two do go together, you're definitely an absolute role model for someone to show that there is life outside of it, and it's a bloody good one.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And I just want to finish that. Like, do you mean I've got peace, but it's not always peaceful.
Yeah.
Do you know? I do struggle some days, but it's practice. Do you know what I mean? And there's no such thing as perfect. It's progress to me, but you've just got to practice these things. And yeah, like not every day's a good day, but most days are good days nowadays. Like, it used to be all bad, but now I'm about 60-40. Do you know what I mean? I'm starting to manage it now.
It's a pretty good ratio.
But it was 100% madness.
Yeah, literally. Well, thank you so, so much.
No,
And I will see you really soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. As you can see from that video, we got pretty deep and I'm really glad you were part of the conversation. If you've got any questions, I will leave Bill's handle below and I will see you soon for another little video.